Greetings, community. It's Kevin of Being Comics, and I just got my pre-order. I got books, a whole lot of books, and it's that time again to start showing books. So hey, but before I do, I want to acknowledge those who are here, and Les Cruces, I appreciate you, dude. Even if you're at the doctor's, damn, you're always watching for me. I appreciate you, buddy. Seriously, seems like something's out of whack here. Just a little bit of adjustment. Oh, is it too much? I think that might have been. No, I think that was it. Look, I look even again. Everyone's odd, but I'm even. Yeah, never mind. Mike, hey buddy, I appreciate you being here. Chef, look at you. What's new? Slice them, dice them. Oh, hey, well, easy on the driving. Don't look at me. Just listen. It's a consider it podcasty type thing. You know what I'm saying? All right, here we go. We're going to start off with books that, hey, look, this list is going to be growing. It's going to be getting large throughout the growing months because if we cruise through this year, we're going to end up getting more and more books. Just to be clear. These books are coming for the reason of Marvel is doing a couple of events in which they wrote me in. I normally don't jump into these things. However, the symbiote one that's coming up is going to be a Venom War like none we've seen before. It's going to be something in which that, for me, is exactly what I look for. It's money that I'm going to be throwing right at Marvel. I'm just saying. Look, so they got me on this whole symbiote thing coming up, and when it comes to Carnage, when it comes to Venom, when it comes to anything symbiotic, I'm a sucker. So that's one of the things that got me in. And the other one is this Blood Hunt. So being that I'm already reading Blade, Spider-Man, what else is going to be wrapped into this thing? Predominantly, those are it. But they're also going to be bringing in, Dark Stalkers, Blood Hunters, all this other stuff that are going to be tied in loosely in these new, I guess, teams are going to be brought in. So what I'm getting at is they've tapped into the monster stuff that I like, vampires, and they've tapped into the symbiote stuff I like. So what that really translates is you're going to end up seeing a whole lot of books coming to me in the coming months. That being stated, I wasted a good amount of time of yours. Just for setup's sake, let's jump into something new. First, we're going to talk about a What If Venom issue number 3, the design variant. When I mean new, no, I know it's not today's stuff, but at the same point, it's a monthly pre-order. I ended up getting this last week at the shop. I wanted to show it with the monthly pre-order because I do have a Venom, What If Venom 3 in here. So I wanted you to see the design variant that I'm getting. It's cool how all these things work because all the what ifs, when it comes to the Venom, they all been kind of interlinking. So we started off with issue number 1, and it started with She-Hulk. Issue number 2 went over to the Venom. And issue number 3, we're getting a what if of Doctor Strange and Venom were to go ahead and merge or symbiotically, work off one another. Cool thing is these stories have been kind of interrelating. One kind of bleeds out to the other, kind of bleeds out to the other. So as opposed to just telling a story and it being a hard ending, one does lead directly into the other, which has been a fun story. I end up getting notified that these things were on sale. So I end up picking up a couple. They're a good deal, and I end up seeing that these things have been going for a couple of bucks. So, hey, look, you know what? Who am I to say no when someone's trying to give me money? No, I'm just saying. They're really cheap, and I just wanted to jump on them. Uncanny Valley is not only an awesome story, but some of these covers are just, you just can't say no. So we're going to say no. I want to say hello to Ian. How you do? Hope all is well with you. So I end up not only getting me a 1 in 50, which I do have 2 and they're both signed, but I couldn't say no to the fact that this was so cheap. I ended up seeing it on eBay and that the guy was almost giving it away. No one was bidding on it. Same thing with the one for store. So now I finally have 2 of these things. And anyways, I definitely want both to be signed, if I can, by Tony. So, Tony, I will be asking if you could be signed some more books and a possible sketch. Feral has been an awesome read. So if you're unfamiliar with both what I just already showed, let me start it off with Feral because I'm going to jump back into Uncanny. Feral's a story of there's a rabies outbreak in the town, and a lot of people are just trying to, well, get rid of all animals. They're going to go ahead and incinerate them. They just want to incinerate the problem, essentially, which is rabies. So these 3 cats are on a journey to their death. They don't know it. They get overturned in the vehicle that's taking them to the pound. Pound, well, along with probably what's happening at the pound, what sounds on the radio, and what's happening on the streets, which is not very good, the truck gets overturned by rabid dogs or foxes, something, maybe wolves. Thing overturns. Next thing you know, these 3 house cats, well, they're amongst the rabid community of just everything that wants to just rip everything apart. So, short aspect of it is it's kind of Aristocrats meets Walking Dead. Long version is part what I just told you as an ongoing story. Most people don't realize that Feral, if doing well, is going to be an ongoing series. So we're going to see these cats going in and out of some hardcore nastiness for quite some time. My concern was, and what I told Tony, is he better not off these characters so soon. We just got him and already. Tony, great story. Keep it up. Hey, Air Spider, how you doing? I hope all is well with you. Now, in Candy Valley, quite different in the sense of we have a story of a kid in the center there. Well, he doesn't realize that he is part cartoon. And he's been having a lot of trouble at school. And he can't figure out why. That's a cover B. And he's noticing that things are not all the same for him as they are with others. He's now noticing he's being followed by crows. And the next thing you notice is cartoons are trying to kill him. So that's got a long story. Short story is it's almost like a Roger the Rabbit kind of story where, I don't even know how to blend it, where this kid's fighting for his life only for the fact that he's a half breed, half human, half cartoon, and the cartoon world is not very happy with it. So that's actually, I'm just saying, the base of Uncanny Valley. Now, this is supposed to be a 12-issue series that was made a deal upon that if a certain amount of issues were sold, a minimum quota was met, then the 12-issue would go on. I do know that the writer, Flakes, was contacted and was asked, hey, could you do this as a 6? Yeah, that didn't go over well. So hopefully we do get the actual 12 issues because for me, Uncanny Valley is a 12-issue series that needs to be. Don't cut it short for me, please. Moving on from that, we're going to talk about Spider-Boy. No, not issue number 1. I just had to have another one, though. Well, we're going to talk about issue number 6. The reason why is, well, that's what I got in my monthly pre-order. Issue number 6. What we're doing is we're wrapping up with the whole arc. And I believe this is also on issue number 48. You'll see Spider-Man, the same identical cover. So I got to go back and get it. Dang it. Just to get set. Well, the Spider-Boy issue number 6, what we're doing is we're finally getting a wrap up. And we're seeing this character right here, almost in full form, as she finally suckered in Spider-Boy. And yeah, he ended up go chasing after Boy Spider in the last issue that I ended up reading. What transpired after that? Well, I think that's what we're going to end up finding out in here. And this poor kid is just being manipulated one way and another by this tormentor. And all he's trying to do is find his real footing in this world. Ever since he got back, he's still trying to grapple with the fact that no one really knows who he is. Even his, at the time, kind of best friend, Spider-Man, doesn't even know who he is. And also now he's trying to understand his place with him, wants to distance himself as a once supposed sidekick to not having a sidekick at all. So yeah, Bailey's having issues, and now that all he wants to do is, like most of us, find somewhere to go to be understood and loved, this individual who created him is just going to manipulate and just ruin his world. Can't wait to get into that book. Spider-Woman, issue number 6. Now, this is a story that I wasn't going to initially read, but being that it was tying in with the whole Spider-Boy stuff, I couldn't help myself. So that's why I ended up jumping in. And yeah, you know what? This has not been a disappointment. I appreciate the fact that I did jump into that thing. I just now, like everything else, trying to find a place to store my books. Moving up now to issue number 46 of Amazing Spider-Man. This has been an awesome read, in my opinion. We finalized the whole gang war, which was okay. It did its job, and it did it in its own way. But what we're starting here is we're end up ramping up a whole new arc that's going to be carrying on for a while. The stuff that we got before was a setup, and that was supposed to be basically a 3-year project. That being done by Ted. He's all done with that now. And now he ends up doing what I recall is supposed to be like a 2-year type project, which is where we're going to see with this. This also, as I stated, will tie into the Blood Hunt stuff. And we will end up getting, I think, even a Red Man with this. But really what I'm getting at is, as we jump into issue number 47 from 46, what we get is we get Kazan back. He's trying to figure out and understand his powers even greater. And Hallows Eve is back. These are two characters that I really enjoyed when they made their appearance. And what was that? 88 and 14 and all this other stuff. So really, these are characters that I've been dying to see come back. So that's really why I'm not only looking forward to getting into these books in particular, but what's happening after is really exciting me in particular. Hey, look at that. Cover B at 47. Yeah, I've been getting those things. I got to drop off at some point. I really do. All right. Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 3. Now, other than the actual Ultimate Universe that launched, what was that? 3 or 4 months before that. And I'm talking about of this particular volume and series. And that actually and coincidentally launched a second printing so many months later, which came out today on 4/24/2024. This was the first book to launch after that, which is Ultimate Spider-Man. And this one is issue number 3, but issue number 1 was the first to launch of that series out of that universe at the time. This is the one that actually started it all, and in my opinion, why everyone else has been reading Black Panther, Ultimate, and X-Men, and everything else. So this has been phenomenal in my opinion. This has been a great read. What is it, Hickman, right? Yeah, of course. And Hickman again is doing it. It's just doing, I guess, what a lot of us hoped would do with this universe. And it's telling a story that we're all familiar with in its own way, meaning characters and so forth, but it's being told in a totally different. So it's been new and refreshing for a character that is so old that we all are familiar with, but being told in a way that I think we all can appreciate. But moving on from that one, we're going to talk over here at this. Oh, no. I do have a variant. I forgot. I've been buying all these special variants. They've been cool. I've been doing. I've been buying the A and all the special ones. But now I'm going to talk about Spider-Man Shadow of the Green Goblin. And the reason why is initially I wasn't going to get this, but it talks about the Proto-Goblin. So I want to know a little bit more, and I also want to get a little bit deeper background. And being that they're going to go ahead and give us some information that kind of filled in a couple gaps that were started some almost 40 years ago. Yeah. I was looking forward to getting in this book and see what Demantius can do with this thing. So, excuse me. You know what? Liquid. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Nectar of the Gods. And I've been getting all these sketch variants. And when they come with these pretty little colors like purple or green or blue or something like that, or orange, something bright, I can't help myself. So I end up getting them. Definitely getting them. And I'm finally getting some sketch work done by some of these artists that are around here. So, yeah, that's been kind of cool. Spectacular Spider-Man, issue number 2. Issue number 1 was so much fun. The interaction between these characters and the way it's written by Wiseman. And the Ramos art just complements it so well that this was an easy book to pick up. It was an easy book on issue number 1 to read. And it was an easy book for issue number 2 to pre-order. So yeah, I've been thoroughly enjoying that. The way these two characters work with one another is just awesome. Superior Spider-Man, issue number 5. I think this thing got picked up for a second arc throughout all the way number 12 because they didn't stop it. I'm already pre-ordering up to, I think, 9. I've been enjoying this new character out here. I think it was Nova or something like that. Supernova. And she's grappling with her powers in her place. And yeah, that poor chick got pretty tortured. So I've been enjoying this thing. And the cool thing is we're getting the same traditional grapple that we got with Peter and Ock that we got in the past. And it's really cool because it's playing out so well. I'm looking forward to see who's going to win in the end. I think by issue number 6, we're going to end up finding out. Miles Morales issue number, Legacy, 300, but issue number 18. I end up getting the cover A. Now, in a significant way, as far as the story is concerned, this issue number 18 isn't anything too heavy. As far as the legacy is, that's rather an accomplishment when you really think about it. For this character to be out as long as it has, not that long, and have as many books out, which has been quite significant, and been written by so many people who have done it so much justice that, yeah, hey, congratulations, Miles, because you deserve it. So I got the Insignia variant. I got the Garson variant with all the collage stuffy. I'm just saying. And there's my man right there. Hey, Jigs. Hope all is well with you. And Agu, what's new? Look at the gorgeous dog. I just realized you're looking at your dog's butt. Huh. It's a cute dog, but I don't know if I'd be staring like that. Just saying. It's kind of creepy. Agu, I hope you're all well. Hope the dog's doing well. I hope the woman's doing well. And I hope the household is just awesomeness. All right, man. So check it out. I got one last variant on that whole it's the Human Torch variant. And this was actually really, look at that. That's I'm gonna use a bad pun. That's fire. Just seriously, that's actually this might have to go up on the wall out there. Thing's cool. Some things are just better in person, you know what I'm saying? Like people. Maybe not people. All right, number 19. So Miles Morales issue number 19. Now here we go. We're starting off a new arc. I know the 18 was nothing real and it was kind of a standalone, if I recall. But when we start getting him to play with these characters, and as it's been nothing but an adventure, and he's just been on the run since day one when this series started. I'm almost looking forward to take a break, like, I don't know, watching after his little one and babysitting. So I think 19, if I recall, ends up doing that very thing. So I'm looking forward to that. Durs, I hope you're doing well, brother. I know I've been flaking. I've been meaning to talk, and hopefully a little bit later we can talk a little bit later. I swear. I've been not meaning to flake on you. I'm sorry. But I appreciate you being here, buddy. Oh, books, and more books that I've been going through. I'm going to try to kind of cruise through a little bit faster. Edge of Spider-Verse issue number 2. This is for Pearson and Spooky Man. This poor kid is going through hell. And this is an issue that actually reflects a little, I'm a sucker for these heart-tuggy stories. So this is one of those issues that does that very thing. I'm looking forward to getting into this. I know nothing of this character, even though I've heard of this character before. Looking forward to getting into this whole cyborg thing. So I want to not only get into that, but I want to reread this. I did read this the other day, and I did read it very well on as far as Star Spider is concerned. But the actual second one, even though I know I read it, Web Weaver just does not stand out as far as the story that jumped at me when I read this thing. I know it's in there. I remember seeing it. So I want to kind of go back over that. Star Spider I think I'm just using Web Weaver as an excuse to reread Star Spider. To me, it was actually a pretty cool issue. And look, that was the cover for issue number 3 for me. I'm just saying. Yo, K-pop. I hope all is well. Appreciate you being here. And I saw all that you ended up doing at that con. That looked fun as fuck. Damn. Yeah, you were having a blast, I could tell. Hulk, issue number 10. Now, this is the Hulk we all wanted. Look, blood dripping everywhere, just flying on the floor. This has been everything that I've been hoping for and a little bit more. So I've been digging it, and it's been rather consistent Hulk, especially in comparison to the last 2 volumes that we got before, which were rather incomplete in my opinion. So this not only ends up telling us a little bit of the gaps that we're kind of missing those past 2 volumes, but leads us into the horror stuff that I think we all appreciated and the 3rd one before, if that makes sense. Now you know what I mean. So that led into issue number 11, which I'm that far behind in. I'm just saying. What's a waste of reading time? Oh, really? Sweet. Oh, that sounds awesome. I've been getting all the giant side stuff. And what I've been getting of this too, I really been getting is these floaty head ones. I like this cover. All the floaty head villain stuff I've been definitely get of every of the giant sides that it's been coming out this year. And as far as story is concerned, I don't know, they're okay. I haven't read any one that was that rad. I don't know, the giant size Gwen was okay. That was because it does lead into the regular storyline. It actually is the storyline leads into that, if I recall, the other way around. You know what I meant. But I mean, yeah, they're like, they're okay. I remembered it, so it did mean something, right? I'm just saying. Oh, edges. No, I dig all these new spidery stuff. I'm not saying they're brilliant, but it's a hit and miss. You know how it is. So okay, now jackpot issue number 1. Now, after what ends up transpiring in issue number 1, I don't think Black Cat's very too bad. She was supposed to help Black Cat. Black Cat being blackmailed. If you're thinking I'm spoiling it, you're a month behind. I'm just 5 weeks at this point. I'm just saying. So hey, no spoiler, but I'm just saying. No, it did come out actually today. This is a cool read. Jackpot's in a whole heap of trouble. And Black Cat's not happy, even though she's the only one that really can help Black Cat. I'm looking forward to seeing how this transpires. I really am enjoying it. Celeste Brofman is doing a good job. And as far as, a series, ain't going to change your life, but you're going to have a lot of fun. So, hey, that's why I've been reading this one. Ghost Rider. Now, if you're into a heavy book, this one will do it for you. Now that Hood is, he's got the spirit in him, he's going to do some hell. So issue number 2 is up there. I'm going to have to, I can't wait to log some of these things in because there's a couple books I'm really chomping on the bit for. Ms. Marvel, issue number 2. Now, this has been a pretty decent series. Iman Vellani and Sabir Pirzada have been doing a good job together on that book. And, she's just a nerd like us. So she's been dying to, write her second series. So this has been it. And it's been addressing some of the things that have been going on. The whole fact that 1, she's a mutant, and 2, how she's dealing with it. And 3, how society is dealing with the fact that she's now a whole different personification of what she used to be. It's kind of cool to me. Now we're going to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles source book. I am not going to read these things till I get all 4. It's a very... It reads like a manual. So unless you really want to get forensic about your reading and just get backstory and history and just like I'm saying, a forensic understanding of what you're reading about when it goes into the actual storyline of the characters or their universe, this is it. But if you're not prepared for that, you're not going to be entertained whatsoever. You're going to sit there and go, what the hell? So you got me, I'm going to get all 4, and then I'm just going to read it as such. Much like a manual, much like a dictionary, much like an encyclopedia. Because I thought I knew about this universe until I started reading these source books. And I'm like, okay, look, I'm an idiot. I'm going to wait till I get them all together and I'll just one big education like college. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Untold Destiny of the Foot Clan, issue number 2. This is the daughter of Splinter looking to regain her father's title under her name. She's looking to get her clan back. She's looking to take over. She wants her place in history and her place in the town. And that's what the story is about. I wasn't familiar really with the character that, and I know that she's kind of been around for a bit, I believe, my understanding. That's why the source book's going to be awesome. But she's like kicking ass, and she's just, I don't know, she's doing it for me. Grim, issue number 16. My only gripe about Grimm is the fact that it's really inconsistent on it when it releases. As far as the story, it's freaking awesome. There was a slight art change from around issue 8, I think, and on. And other than that, it got more vibrant, in my opinion, too. Even though that's kind of dark. It used to be darker. Other than that, it's been really consistent as far as the art and especially the writing is concerned. Like I said, just as far as the release, that's the only gripe I have. I love this story, and the fact that a person is now a Grim Reaper, and there's like a whole army of them, and she's doing a job which that she doesn't want to do, doesn't even know how she died and all that, and then finds out that she is related directly to the Grim Reaper, the guy. Yeah, it's a cool story, and there's so much more backstory to learn in it. It's got me wrapped. Usagi Yojimbo. Now this is, if I recall, the Crow, right? Yeah, the Crow, issue number 1 of 5. The fact that it's kind of funny, coincidental, ironic. There's all kinds of stuff wrapped in this, in the sense of it's Dark Horse reissuing Dark Horse. So, Stan kind of hops around from place to place, and he ends up, I think, really wanting to settling here. From when he first started, what is that, Albedo, to getting over into Dark Horse after Mirage, I think this is really his home. So he's been reissuing a bunch of stuff, and it's really been coming together, not only over in the Dark Horse place, but the fact that they've been able to take all these older stories and color them. It's been telling the story, in my opinion, a little bit better, only due to the fact that when you ever put a little bit more into the budget of anything, it tends to be a better product. And I think that's precisely what we're getting from Stan. Stan, as old as you've been getting, I didn't mean it that way. I don't even know how to put it. But what I'm getting at is, as you've been ripening, it's been sweeter juice that you're producing as far as these stories are concerned. God, I saved that out of nowhere. So yeah, keep doing it. I've been digging it, even if they're reissues and when they're non-reissues. Because in the case of this, hey, look, we got a new character. So So I've been digging all these things. Just keep doing what you're doing. I've been appreciating it. Ultimate X-Men. Now this is an Ultimate version storyline that's given to us by Peach. Now, if you're not familiar with what she's been doing in the past as far as these characters are concerned, if you're looking for a traditional X-Men story, you ain't gonna get it here. She's doing a whole unique styling of her own telling, which is what she did in the past 2 years in the Demon Days stuff. So if you weren't already into that style of telling of the Marvel Universe, this might disrupt your appreciation for the X-Men and its present telling. And if you are familiar with what she was writing back then this is for you. I'm digging this stuff, even though I really don't read team books. I don't, no Avengers, no Invaders, no X-Men, no Factors, none of that stuff. Now, call me odd. Thank you. But it's just something that it tends to be extensive for me when I end up reading other stuff, because it hopping over here and there and so many characters. It seems to be a little over exhausting for me. You see how many books I get as it is, to try to keep up with all the other storylines. Being that this is told in its own unique way, we're getting these individual stories, and we've yet to actually build a team. So as when the X-Men was first introduced to us way back in the 60s, and we've got the whole team kind of set up, and then we got the breakdown of individual characters, this is told in the exact opposite way. Kind of cool, kind of unique, and if you're not, like I said, already familiar with the Demon Days type stuff, kind of suggest you kind of get those things in the dollar bins first and see what you think before you dive into a retail-y style book. Just saying. Carnage, issue number 6. I just been wrapping up. That'd be awesome. Carnage is all like God out and like shit, and he's just effing everything up, sucking up powers and going to different voids and universes and time plate, and holy macatoonie. Yeah, he's just doing a number. The idea, simple way of putting it, is he's shutting off all his weaknesses. to gain an ultimate power, to be able to be strong enough to take on Venom in its strongest, purest form, which is Eddie Brock. And that's Carnage's ultimate goal. Even though Cletus is basically telling him, meaning Cletus is telling Carnage, even when you wipe him out, then what? If you're a god, then what? What is really your ultimate goal on the back end of this? Have you thought that through? I don't think Carnage has. It's kind of funny when actually Cletus is the one that's trying to talk some sense into Carnage. Because there's, one psychopath to another. It doesn't matter what the life form is. They both don't make sense, and they both do. And it's just so weird and scary. Excellent written. It's Groenbeck, right? Yep, Groenbeck. And it's just awesome written by her. And I think that was why I was reading all that other Thor stuff and stuff like that and digging it. So it's just the horror that is in here and the complete psychopath direction in which that it's guided in is just alluring for anybody that's really into that kind of style of right. I can't wait for blood on that kind of stuff because I know she's in it too. She's just gonna get crazy with blood. It's gonna be cool. All right. So, anyways, Venom 32, Red 31, loved it. Did you know these things are interlinking? Like Venom, like probably 7 connects with this, and 6 connects with 31, and they make one gigantic interlinky picture. So it's been kind of difficult for me to get them together because I only recently found all that out. I knew there was some connecting, but I didn't know for what they were connecting to. Stupid me. So I'm now getting it, and I can't wait to see what this picture turns out to be. Anyways, back to the story. This is, again, Venom, Carnage, it's all interlinking. And Carnage was pretty pissed when he ended up finding Venom, and Venom wasn't attached to Brock. He slightly took it out on Dylan. And that was awakening for Dylan to go, what the F is going on? He thought he was a power until Carnage went, you have no idea. Symbiote Spider-Man issue 2099, issue number 2. Where this picks up from is Spider-Man 2099 issue number 33 or 34, something like that. I think it's 30, maybe it's 34. From way back in the 90s. Now, if you're unfamiliar, so was I. But if you're not, then cool. I had no idea. As a standalone story, it surely does. You don't have to understand what transpired before. But now I'm kind of curious. So I've been looking in the bins. But I really have been enjoying this ride. I am a symbiote guy, as you know. I'm a Spider-Man person, as you probably deduced also. And 2099, well, it's kind of natural, right? Anyways, I love the 2090 stuff. So the fact that we get this whole take on a modern day book based on old 90 stuff, which I'm old and I used to read a lot of 90 stuff, this kind of brings me right back, and it's been really thoroughly enjoyable for me to read. Ugh. Yeah, it's been awesome. I've been talking a lot today, and I haven't taken a dab in a while, so just forgive me. All right, here we go. Back to the what if. This is the one I was talking about earlier, and to start it all off. What if issue number 3 is a Venom story that I really been digging. Meaning I did get to read some of the stuff because I have the design variant. Issue number 1 started off with what if Venom would have landed on She-Hulk, and then it kind of bleeds over to it left her and went over to Logan, and then it bled off from Wolverine and went over to what if Doctor Strange. And the cool thing is they all interlink a story. So as opposed to them just being standalone stories, which is like the Edge of Spider-Verse and things like that do, they interlink in some regards, which is kind of cool. So the what if just bleeds from one to the other to the other. They used to do that. I can't remember. It was like Tales of the Dark or something like that. Would for a little while have these interlinking stories. They were standalone stories, but they also bled because of this person held the skull or had his hand or whatever. And I kind of like that. Anyways, back to this. So I'm looking forward to going ahead and get into this what if story. 1, I've been really digging the series. And 2, it's interesting to see what if Venom went on something else. So yeah, I'm a sucker for the symbiote stuff. Secret Wars didn't do it back in the day. So it's easier to pick them up as a pre-order and just get them in stores, brand new, spanking, a pretty lag. Spines are all nice, and essentially for the same cost. I mean, or to try to get them in a disc condition, nah, they're more expensive. So I've been reading them. Are they all right? All right. Do I recommend it? All right. We got a suit out of it and the whole Venom thing and all that, but yeah, I'm just picking it up. I think it's okay. I mean, if you're familiar with the characters and you're already familiar with the time and the era and everything, and you don't expect anything more and nothing's going to change, then it's a movie you already saw and you already know what your expectations are. So it's all right. Doctor Strange has been really freaking awesome. If you're not reading it and you're a strange person, if you're watching this, you're a strange person. Then you'll thoroughly enjoy the series. This has been solid. Seriously, McKay's doing an awesome job, and I'm actually a fan of McKay anyways. He writes usually a lot of the Black Cat stuff. The fact that we get Clea hanging out with Doc and the way it's been working out and interlinking and how she took over when he died and the way the two play with one another, McKay's doing an awesome job not only writing this thing, but making a series that is consistent, solid, and probably one of the better written stories out of Marvel right now. So, yeah, it's just been awesome to read. Immortal Thor, issue number 9. So this is kind of the introduction of where 8 really kind of gave us a small introduction of the whole corporate Thor thing going on. I'm looking forward to reading what the hell all that really means. We did get a piece of it when they were talking about the whole Roxanne thing. And I don't know what any of that really translates as, but I am so looking forward to getting into it. I have been reading Thor and enjoying it more than I've been hearing most. But taking into consideration what I was reading in the past 2 Thors before, I'll definitely take this one. This one has been pretty good. So this is what I was talking about, that whole Roxanne Presents. This comes out of Thor right there, Immortal Thor 9. So I like I said, I'm behind monthly pre-order. So I'm intrigued. This is a weird enigma for me because as it was being introduced in 8, I'm like, what the fuck is this all about? What's this corporate? How? What? So I'm hoping it doesn't turn out to be really stupid. Please don't be stupid. Void Rivals. This started it all. This started the whole Energon universe, and this gave us the first introduction outside of Void Rivals of what this universe was going to be, which turned into Transformers. Transformers was the next thing to be released out of this universe. And as a standalone story, this thing is awesome. You could read this, not know anything about G.I. Joe, Transformers, any of that, and be thoroughly entertained. And when they introduce the characters in which that you may have famously have heard before, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Cobra, so forth, then you may have went, oh, wow, cool. But if you didn't know before, then the cool thing is they're introducing characters that, as I said, you may not have heard before or knew very little about, and giving it to you in a way that is not only more modern, but by today's standards, I think it'd be appreciated considerably better. It's very well written, and Void Rivals, as I said, started it all. What that eventually gave us, as I stated, Transformers. The Transformers issue number 7 is kind of a key issue, and we see how it changes the direction of what things are going in. We're seeing how vicious things can be. This war that's starting to really break out, and the fact that we're seeing these bigger and better and badder fucking characters, especially with Decepticons, is really ramping up. And it's been allowing me to really remember some of the characters that I totally forgot. So it's been an awesome journey. Now, out of that, what we've been getting is also some of the characters that have been coming out of the G.I. Joe universe. So what that started for me was Duke. I wasn't very familiar with Duke other than the name, but this guy's a badass. And by issue number 5, we're going to, I think, end up seeing him integrating into the G.I. Joe universe permanently. And as it goes away as a 5-of-5 issue, what we end up seeing it give rise to is other minis that are going to give support to the whole universe in general. So the one that I saw that was really significant is Deathstroke. I'm looking forward to getting into that. because after I'm done with Cobra Commander and it's fully done with its 5-issue mini, and this being issue number 4, that was to me the more natural progress to go to. Is, all right, well, what about Destro? How did that formation turn about? Because if this character came out from a totally different place in a totally different way, how did that alliance turn out? So that's where we're going to end up and we end up getting such a background history of Cobra Commander leading up to this, just the issue number 4, that went beyond anything we knew of any of this Cobra Commander, of anything that we ever saw before. His tolerance for pain, his smartness, his tact, his it's just everything that was just given to us in 3 short issues is nothing short of miraculous and just awesome. See, I broke that down. It just makes every issue that much more desirable. I'm so eager to jump into the next issue of this universe as it just unfolds. So I can't wait to the next phase per se after this is even done, even though I haven't even finished half of this shit. Speaking of universes, Geiger. This started all off with everything. Geiger was the introduction to what we end up getting with the universe that ended up being born with the whole Geiger universe and the whole Ghost Machine thing. But this right here is the second volume of, in my opinion, what turned out to be just amazing as a storyline. Geiger is just awesome, and it gave us all the characters that gave rise and birth to the universe that, as I said, Ghost Machine, that is really turned a lot of people that used to be turned off into these big, how should I say, multiple series buys to cover one universe, much like the way, again, as I was just talking about the Energon universe. But Ghost Machine, it's going to cover a lot of different books. And right now it just starts off at 3. But as many as they're talking about it offshooting, we're going to end up seeing a whole lot of books. And the beauty about this is there is a consistency on not only the writers, much like the Energon universe, but the actual direction in what this book is going at. We've already seen some of these characters that already fell in love with the direction that they're going at. So the beauty is they're not straying too far to what we already come familiar with what little they've already introduced us to. So Geiger, again, starts it off in the second volume. And then from there, where we go is Rook Exodus, issue number 1. Now, this is a story that I was told that supersedes the other 2, meaning Geiger and the other book that I'm about to mention, which is Redcoat. As far as stories are concerned, this is the one that everyone gravitated to and said that this is the one that actually is what everyone hopes the whole universe turns out to be, is solid as. They're hoping this representation of this story is that, in a nutshell, what the universe will be. Now, my hopes is that if everyone's already talking about an offshoot of what the main story really, really was, and then was talking about an offshoot from then, if you recall, Junkyard Joe, then what that really is saying, as far as this universe is concerned, starting out rather well. Now, moving on from that one, as I was briefly talking about Redcoat, this is the 3rd book coming out of this universe, and this supports the universe's an introduction. So I know nothing about this character other than the fact that I guess it's like an immortal character. And that's almost about it. So I'm looking to jump in there. I know it was touched on, and I want to say that whole Image anthology, I think there's a little bit of touched on, and I think 7 or 8, issue 8, maybe it was. And there's other, touches upon and the other Geiger stories and the one-shot, 80-page one-shot. So I already know about those things, but they're so teasing that you don't get really much depth on this character at all. So I'm looking forward to jumping in this one in particular. All right, Gargoyle's Quest, issue number 1. Didn't think I ordered it. But I did. I'm sure glad I didn't double up on the buy, because I had to look back on my history and see if I did order it. But I think really, Wiseman did a great job in the introduction of this coming to Dynamite. That I guess really what it was, I want to see what he would do on this little offshoot thing. And I know that, look at that cover. That I fell in love with the cover when I was just looking at it. And looking at it in person, yeah, I'm glad I got it. Looking forward to jumping in that book, checking it out. All right, Project Blue Book, issue number 3, 1947. Now, 1947 is, if I recall, was like one of the first major dates, and was that I think it was when Project Blue Book was born. Yeah, Project Blue Book was when the military and the IRS wanted to gather information on all these unidentified objects that were going about in North America, and when they were gathering information, so they had to give it a name. In what year was Project Blue Book started? I'm not getting a clear answer. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, 1947 was project sign was, yeah, makes sense, and that's what I thought. So the idea behind 1947, it was the origin of when Project Blue Book essentially was started, and when all this information was being gathered. In my opinion, what Tynion was doing was essentially taking the second volume and getting and garnering the name 1947 to pay homage to the fact that all these individuals were taking sometimes their life in their own hands by divulging this type of information to almost anyone that was willing to go ahead and take this information. News, sometimes the government, sometimes they had no idea of anybody posing any identity to who they really were by asking these questions. So it's interesting to see James give us a book of true articles that were actually in the Project Blue Book, and that was then released to the public. So this is his own interpretation for individuals that, much like me, that had no interest initially in these type of tales, to be receiving this information and going, huh, because that's what I've been doing. I've never been interested in this type of stuff, but being that I've got it in this kind of form, this context has been making me actually scratch my head and go, well, it's something you can't necessarily deny if it's really transpired. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Pear, how you be? Hope all is well with you. All right, let me get my gal in my head. My head's all over the place. Remember that? Hey, dude, I'm gonna leave that one up there for a while. You know, man, appreciate you. Animal Palette issue number 3. Now, issue number 1 just basically brought on a whole lot of guilt for being human, and it did actually prove its point. Issue number 2, it shows you the power and strife that happens after liberation. You know, it shows you what kind of organization is going to have to happen and under what duress. So we end up seeing society end up having to get together and start to think about how it wants to lead itself in a social and political way. And remember, we're talking about animals out of a pound. Yes, dogs, cats, rabbits, so forth. So what we end up seeing is those struggles, that whole thing translating how we end up starting our own country, and any country that ends up starting out in its infantile stages, how these animals have to navigate their way. So I'm looking forward to jumping in issue number 3 because holy shit, man, they're eating one another. Literally. You know, I know it was a metaphor for back in the day, but fuck. Sweetie Candy Vigilante. Now, this is the best way and the sweetest way to have any form of vengeance. Just sick Sweetie Candy Vigilante on him. The daughter of the Candyman is only seeking out truth and justice in a candy way, shoving up your ass kind of way. This is such an awesome book. Sweetie's, yeah, if you're not reading this, then you just don't know. Definitely not for kids. I'm just saying. But wow, it's probably one of the sweetest books out there. And it's just, you can't help but wanting to share. So I highly recommend that if you're into that kind of thing. No, not the whole candy cane. I'm just saying hardcore violence in a very fun way. Never mind. Hercules. I swear that's what this is. Unfortunately, this is the white cover. Perry, I really thought it was going to be the orange cover. I was going to send this out to you. But I only got one, so I'm sorry. It's mine. Anyways, the white one's in there. It has like a gold thing, cross thing. It's really cool. So, and if you're still there, Perry, were you looking for this one? And if you are, tell me. Send this one out. I got 2. Just wasn't certain if they're going to send it to me, and this is what I ordered. Looks like it's in good condition. Just saying. So yeah, I want to jump into this, and I didn't get to finger my other book, but I'm definitely going to end up fingering one of these things because everyone's got to finger Hercules. How else are you going to read it? And I think Elliot Callan is going to be a shop, so I'm going to see if I can go ahead and get these things signed. Looking forward to actually jumping into these things. Curious. The this orange one right here, right? Because if so, I'll throw it off to the side now. Because I thought you were looking for this orange one and the orange sketch, huh? Because yeah, I couldn't if I find another sketch. But if you're looking for the bleed, I got you. Throw that off to the side. Just shoot me on Instagram. DM me thingy. You know what I'm saying. All right, hey, Philadelphia. This has been an awesome and consistent read. Barnes has been killing it with this thing. I remember when I first met him and we were talking about this, I had no idea that to the depth of which that he would go. We're seeing characters, as you see right here, Savage Dragon and characters in the past, such as Spawn, appear. And I had no idea he was going to integrate him in there. And then, to me, it only augmented the storyline. I know in some regards, others may have thought it was just reaching too far to go ahead and try to grab a little bit of attention that may have been undesirable by some. But for me, it's been rather enticing to see how he's been able to integrate other characters from the Image universe into a universe that stands on its own 2 feet. A great blend of history, fiction, and just classic monsters. Philadelphia is a must read. Is a must read. All right, Bad Girls, Local Man. Now, I didn't get to actually read the book that I had signed by Tony Fleeks, but I'm definitely going to read this one. Local Man is a story of a hero that kind of got banned from his own team, and he's only trying to do right, and he keeps fucking up. He is a fuck up by nature, but he wants to do right. He's got a good heart. So he tries to go back to his hometown. They want nothing to do with him. And that is the story of Local Man. And he's still trying to do the right thing. And his town's getting screwed over. And that ain't going to stop him, even though he's not supposed to do hero. So it's been an interesting read. And it pays a lot of homage to the influences that both Seeley and Fleeks had in the 90s towards their own writing and their own art. And towards their own appreciation or perception of comics in general. So that's, I guess, another reason why I really enjoy that comic. Rad City, issue number 1. This starts it off. Erica Schultz is writing this thing. She couldn't be happier than all of her friends being clams and just hanging out at some shoreline. That just does not sound right. No, after speaking and seeing her love for this book, and for the fact that she got to write a Spawn book, and she gets to kind of assist in the whole development of this whole offshoot. Yeah, she was just tickled. And it was just really interesting because I guess she is the first woman to ever write a Spawn book, I believe. So, it's kind of cool. One, I end up getting just a cover A, and that's what I'm showing you now. But I end up getting the sketch covers. And the reason why is I've been noticing around town, and even on the ordering, that of the only 2 covers that were offered, the sketch was really underordered. I mean, everywhere they didn't have like any. I went to one shop that had one, and I picked it up. And then I had a pre-order for another shop to get me one. It's the only 2 I've seen so far. Just saying. All right, Last Mermaid, issue number 2. The first one talked to my heartstrings like you wouldn't believe. And I it was awesome. The Little Mermaid is going through just a post-apocalyptic style world, trying to find water inside of a device that is preserving her, and the device breaks. It's an interest. I'm really a heartstring kind of guy, so whenever you're sitting there giving me these stories, these Canto, these Wind, these God, what was the other Twig style stories? Yeah, The Last Mermaid is identical, and it just pulls you right in, and it doesn't let you go. And this fantasy world is not only horrific, but beautifully drawn. So yeah, I'm in for the long haul on that one. Highly recommend the Last Mermaid. You're just gonna have a hell of a time trying to find a place to put it. Just sucks. Along with this book. What else? Issue number 2. Now, for those of you that may have read the old Penthouse books of the past, there was a lot of nudity, and I mean, there were only a few articles that were very well written of the time. This is exactly the quite opposite. This is a lot of articles, a lot of comics, a lot of filler, and then at the back end, there's a little bit of nudity. Definitely don't recommend this for kids. I definitely recommend this for a book. Definitely recommend this book for a person that remembers what this book used to be and just wants to appreciate the nostalgia of what it used to be and appreciate what it is right now as a standalone. And I think it actually does have a beautiful blend of a way a book can work by today's standards and what it's really standing on the shoulders of yesteryear. And that's all my books, and I appreciate everyone that it cruised through. Seriously. Hey, Air Spider, dude, half gram dab right after this, just for you. Barry, yeah, dude, hit me on the DMs. Throw me. I don't have your address, dude. After all these years, just thought about that. So just not knock an address at me so I can ship this thing out. Hey, legend, you sure are, dude. You the man. I greatly appreciate you. Don't ever change your underwear, your socks, nothing. Agu, appreciate you, buddy. You the man. Take care of that dog and girl. I appreciate you as always. You keep me honest, and it's in a very dishonest world. K-pop, you're the poppiest, Katie. You're the most awesomest. Jigs, I'll be seeing you probably a little bit later on today. Keep jiggy with it, all right? Seriously. And yeah, anybody else that I may missed? Las Cruces. Dude, tell me what ended up happening. I want to know. I want to make sure it was like a whole lot of nothing. Because greatly appreciate you, buddy. And for everyone that cruises through, I appreciate you. If there's anything that I may have missed, which you see what I end up getting, tell me, what book am I missing? What story do I need to read? And that's it for me. That's repeat. Everyone, you stay well. Take care.